If you are a student and you are struggling to balance the gym and getting good grades, here is exactly how to do so. I just got straight A's in A levels and I've built an incredible physique, and I did so simultaneously. Just to show you, this is my physique and here are my results. The way to balance both is just to change your mindset. You should view you working out and the time in the gym as a break from the academic part of your life and enjoy the time away from the books and from studying. And you should also view the times that you are studying and learning as a break from the gym, from working out, from the physical stress that you are placing onto your body. In order to balance them both, you must view both of them as a break from the other. And this will allow you to stick to both in the long run. The great thing is also when you train and when you study, you usually don't want to do it. So when you eventually force yourself to go and do it, you are then increasing your discipline, which will help you make even more progress in the gym, but also in your studying and your learning and in school. So yes, I achieved 1 A star and 2 A's during A levels, and all through that time, I was building my physique up and training really hard. Now, when you are going through quite intense periods of time where you are maybe working really hard or maybe you are studying really hard, I need you to make sure you don't just quit the gym. If you are someone who is really trying to build their physique up or really enjoying fitness at the moment, working out, focusing on your health, focusing on your physique, that's amazing. But when you get into a part of your life where it's a little bit, stressful, don't leave the thing that is so good for you. Don't leave the thing that is making you healthier, that is making you more confident. It's just stupid in doing so. I know lots of people who would just quit the gym during periods of time where, there's exams and stuff like that, loads of stress. Me personally, I see the gym as even more important when I'm in those periods of time. And the reason is, first of all, it's a good break away from the revision, the studying, etc. I would, work really hard during the day. I would study, 6 hours a day, whatever. When I got into that gym, all I would think about is the gym, is working out. That's it. I wouldn't think of, I need to go and revise this, go and revise that. I'd think, I need to go dumbbell press this. I need to make sure I get this many reps this week. I would be thinking of the things that had nothing to do with, the academic part of my life, which is so good. It gave my brain such a good break. It's, you are struggling with the kind of mental stress you're placing on yourself with the studying, and then you go to the physical stress instead without, really burning yourself out with the mental stress. So you're studying, that's really hurting your brain, but then you get into the gym, you're hurting your body instead of your brain. So you're kind of balancing them both out a little bit more, which is what no one was doing at the time. Everyone was just quitting the gym and only focusing on the mental stress that is now being placed on them through the revision. But I would do both. I would make sure I get into, periods of the day where I would be revising really hard, 6 to 8 hours. Then I would go into the gym and I would see that as a break away from the revision. I would be in there for 2 hours maybe, doing really hard sessions, doing a bit of cardio, enjoying myself. And yeah, I wouldn't really be thinking about the revision. I would just be enjoying myself in there, working on myself. And yeah, it just was a great break away from the harder academic part of my life at that moment. And then when I was at home studying, I was resting from the gym. So yeah, you have to view it in this kind of resting way where you are resting from the gym when you're studying, you are resting from the studying when you're in the gym. So I'd be, studying for 6 hours, but in them 6 hours, I'm resting, I'm recovering, and I'm getting ready for my next session. Just a disclaimer. My aesthetic body course is in the link in the description. It teaches you exactly how to build the aesthetic physique and get in the best shape of your life. Go check it out, link in the description. Now, I will say, during things like GCSEs, A levels, maybe whatever your job is, there's really intense periods. I understand if you want to decrease how often you are going to the gym. What I don't understand and what I don't condone is just completely not going to the gym. Like, that is just so silly. I don't understand why anyone would break a habit that is so good for them just because, they're under a bit of stress, when going to the gym would probably be better for your stress in the long run. So, yeah, I did decrease it from 5 times a week to 3 times a week when I was doing my A levels, but that's still a lot of times you're going to the gym. And yeah, it still really helped with stress. It decreased my stress a lot. I still built a lot of muscle. I was still, making progress in both. So many people around me, so many classmates dropped the gym completely. And they didn't do as well as me, not trying to sound arrogant or cocky. They didn't do as well as me because they didn't have that break away. They didn't have that time to rest their mind and, put some exertion on their body. And yeah, that's why I think I did quite well, is because I was able to balance both. And in the end, I ended up with a good grade and a great physique. So some people, a lot of people who just quit the gym, they ended up with bad grades because they were so stressed and they didn't have break away from that mental exertion they were placing on themselves from the revision. And they ended up with a subpar physique because they weren't focusing on that either. So you see what I mean? You need to balance the both. And the best way to do that is to view them as breaks away from each other. Now, a few other little tips I can give you is make sure you're not doing, like 8 hours a day of revision. You don't need to do that long. Maybe 6 hours, but effective revision. Maybe 4 hours, but effective revision. Don't just be making notes and not really understanding notes really at all and just writing them down, not really learning them. Do active recall things, like the past papers, the blurting, etc. And then that gives you more time to, first of all, relax, because during periods of time like that where you're revising, it gets very stressful. And you can focus more on the gym. You can focus on, your diet more. You can focus more on your health. You can focus more on building muscle. And yeah, if you're more effective in your revision, you can revise for shorter periods of time because it's more effective. And then you can focus more on the gym. And yeah, it just balances out really well. Now, another thing I will say is during these periods of time where you are going under quite a lot of stress, your diet is probably not going to be as good. And I acknowledge this. Now, during my A levels, I was actually cutting. So I was in the worst of positions. A calorie deficit, 8 hours a day revision, 3 times a week gym. It was hell, okay? But I managed to get through it and it was all okay in the end. But what I was saying is my diet, I understood I'm not going to be bothered to go and cook up a massive meal of chicken, rice, all this. I know that doesn't sound that crazy, but I just couldn't be bothered, right? So sometimes I would just go to the shop, buy a protein shake, get quite a lot of protein in for the day. And, I'd have maybe another meal, which is packed full of protein. And then for the rest of the day, I just eat the kind of nice foods. I wanted to treat myself in a sense. I just revised for 8 hours. I'd just been to the gym, 10 hours of working really, really hard. I wanted to go reward myself with a bit of, sweet treats. So maybe 1,000 calories in my day would just be, I don't know, chocolate, sweets, whatever I wanted, just so I could continue being motivated. So I understand during this period, your workouts aren't going to be perfect. Your diet isn't going to be perfect. Your revision might not be completely perfect, but because you're doing both at the same time, you're going to be making so much more progress than everyone else in both of them if you are effective in both. Now, I'm not just saying go to the gym and be there for 2 hours and do nothing. I actually mean like train hard in that time, do your cardio, train till failure, do all of those things. And when you're revising, make sure to revise. Don't just go on your phone because then you won't get good grades. So yeah, you need to make sure you're balancing the both. If you don't, you simply won't get the physique you want. You won't get the results you want. And yeah, my aesthetic body course is in the link in the description. It teaches you exactly how to build the aesthetic physique and get in the best shape of your life. Go check it out, link in the description.